Mrs. Hassan Nahum, thank you first of all for joining us on the newscast.
Sure.
I would like to ask you in the beginning, what is the current situation in Jerusalem? Are you still living under the anti-rocket alarms?
So no, this week has been quieter. Of course, this morning Tel Aviv just got hit by a rocket and they have had constant rocket fire. The south of Israel, of course, is constantly under rocket fire. But Jerusalem has been quiet this week, which is just as well because we're dealing with settling temporarily of the thousands, tens of thousands of the evacuees from the south originally, but now also from the north of Israel, from Hezbollah, a missile fire.
We all know where is Jerusalem, what is the position of the city, how it is to be in charge for a city with such a big history, but also divided among so much cultures and religions. What do you expect for your city?
Well, you know, I think our city has been an example, actually. You know, it's not something that gets in the news, but we live and work together, Jews and Muslims, every single day, not just in City Hall, but everywhere. We go to the same parks and cafes. You know, it's less of a divided city than people actually think. In 1 square kilometer, which is the old city, we have Christian churches and we have mosques and we have Jewish holy sites and synagogues. And for the most part, everybody's respectful of each other. But of course, everywhere you have the fundamentalists and they want to ruin it for everybody else. But the general population are quite happy that we have one city and are quite happy to be part of the Jerusalem municipality umbrella.
Are you afraid that something can happen in Jerusalem?
Every week I've been afraid something can happen in Jerusalem. We had a week and a half ago a terrorist shooting at a police station and injuring a policeman. And that's just one small incident. So we're keeping our eyes on everything. The last thing we need is for the radical hidden cells here in Jerusalem to start making problems and killing our people, especially all those people that have just left 2 different war zones and have come here for shelter.
How do you react on this ongoing humanitarian crisis in Gaza? Are these people victims of Israel or Hamas?
They're definitely victims of Hamas. Remember, Hamas has been in power since 2007. The Palestinians have been in power since 2005. Israel left the Gaza Strip in 2005 with the hope that the Palestinians would take this beautiful piece of land and turn it into something wonderful and have autonomy, build their own state. And instead of turning it into Dubai, they turned it into Beirut and have become the arm of Iran. And everybody knows that Iran has got global jihad ambitions to take over the world and turn it into a caliphate. And so the war that we're fighting here is not simply a war for Israel versus a terrorist group of Hamas. It's Israel versus the Iranian ambitions for the fundamentalism they want to bring on the entire free world.
But Hamas have used this attack over the hospital in Gaza against Israel. How do you see on this attack?
Well, first of all, I knew from the beginning this wasn't an Israeli attack. And because we are professional and we do things carefully, the army had to, investigate. And after a few hours, they came and said this was not anything to do with us. It was an Islamic Jihad rocket. We weren't surprised, and I wasn't surprised, because 25% of the rockets that Hamas and the Islamic Jihad throw from Gaza to Israel fall in their own territory, killing their own people. But this obviously does not make the news. When they kill their own people, it doesn't make the news. And so I wasn't surprised. And it's very interesting, and this is why the world media have to be very careful what they take from Hamas as fact. A, because it was not our missile, it was theirs. And B, because when it was our missile, Hamas was claiming the number of dead was 500. When it turned out to be their missile, the deaths went down to 30. So that just shows you that when they're telling you 7,000 people have been killed, you really can't take them for their word. And the media will be well advised not to take their numbers as anything credible.
Something else that is getting the view of the media these days are these Palestinian protests around the world. How do you comment on these protests?
Well, I'm very confused because one thing is being in favor of Palestinian cause and helping them, get a state. And the other thing is, celebrating and calling out for, defending the decapitation of babies as a legitimate form of resistance. In what planet are they living? Which resistance movement have ever had to kill innocent women and children, old ladies, and take them hostage? And unfortunately, what this shows is that anti-Semitism is alive and well, and now have taken the shape of celebrating dead Israeli babies. This is really, I believe, a very, very obvious expression of anti-Semitism.
Do you think that this war can go over the borders of Israel? We have seen a few days ago that Hezbollah, Hamas and Islamic Jihad are making plans for their next step.
Well, this morning the Iranians have been targeting U.S. military assets in the region, and this morning the U.S. have retaliated. So the danger here is that this could become a wider conflict and even a world war. We shouldn't discount the fact that this could end up being Iran and its proxies against the rest of the free world. And I wonder what then these college campus students are going to side with. Are they going to side with the terrorists and Islamic Jihad that gives nobody their rights, not women, not homosexuals, not children, zero rights? Or are they going to side with the free world? It'll be interesting to see, once they realize what's really going on here, who they're siding with.
So what is your message to the world?
My message to the world is this: Israel is a peace-loving country that has tried 4, 5, 6 times to give the Palestinians their self-determination. And instead of them taking the opportunity, what they've done is the leadership has showed its real colors and have used the territory that we've painstakingly handed over to them to create terrorist bases to destroy the whole of Israel. But it's never going to stop here. And so the whole world has to stand with Israel because we're at the first line of defense for all of you.
Mm-hmm. Just for the end, do you expect tourists to get back in Jerusalem soon?
Not until the war is over, unfortunately. We have great people, Jews and Christians, coming here in solidarity. I'm so really very touched by so many solidarity missions that are coming to be with us in our hour of need. But in terms of regular Jerusalem tourism, we're going to have to wait till after the war. But we will win the war, and we will have our tourists back, and we will be ready to open our arms to the tourists again.
We all hope so. It will be in near future. Thank you very much for joining us on the newscast, and thank you for this interview.
Thank you so much.